Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday morning. It's Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. It's hometown episode. Oh my gosh, how crazy was last night? We had breakups. We had I love yous exchanged. We had a lot of drama and sadness, and that's how it goes on the season. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals. I'm on Patreon if you want behind the scenes bonus content at patreon.com/Dave Neal. All right before I get into the recap, I want to share a video that was sent in to me from one of our special teachers. As you guys know, for the last 2 weeks and throughout the end of August, we'll be highlighting different teachers in our community across the country and giving, you guys have been giving back to their Amazon wish list. Here's one of our teachers and the response that they had after receiving so many gifts from you guys. Overwhelmed. Literally. Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
There it is, folks.
I literally planned on buying all this stuff. And I don't have to. I can't.
There it is. She can't. Simple acts of kindness are helping teachers across the country. And you guys keep sending in submissions, and I hope I can get through all of them. So someone today said, all right, Dave, I'm doing this. Totally jumping on the wagon because that's all I've been hearing about on your YouTube videos. Her birthday was yesterday. Everyone wish our teacher here a happy birthday. She teaches special education in 2nd and 3rd grade. And there is her wish list. There'll be a link in the pinned comment below. That's our featured teacher of the day. So if you can give any one of these supplies, it goes straight to the teacher. You add it to your cart, and it goes to the teacher's home address. They don't share it with you, but Amazon knows where it is, and you can go be a part of change as we, share some love out there. All right, thank you guys so much in advance. I really appreciate all of your generosity. Let's get into it. Hometowns. We open with Rachel packing her suitcase. Nothing is more fun than watching women try to close their suitcase. They just start doing CPR onto the suitcase. Get in there. Women stuff their suitcase the way I stuff my stomach after I've had Italian food. I'm like, there's room for tiramisu. Gabby says meeting families scares the shite out of her. I love how Gabby keeps it honest. She's like, yeah, it scares the hell out of me. She says it with such like a beautiful voice. Gabby heads to the Big Easy with Jason. There it is. Live music on Bourbon Street. This hometown makes it easy on the Bachelor producers. Imagine, they try and make Clayton's hometown in Missouri interesting. No offense to Missouri. Look, the devil dances on Bourbon Street. That's where it is. That's the Big Easy. Gabby tries to get a guy to flash her beads for deeds style. He's like, no thanks. You gotta ask twice, Gabby. They say no the first time. They meet Jason's dad in the park. His dad seemed very sweet and emotional. I love seeing dads show emotions. How repressed are we in society that when one dad cries, we're like, yay, hug your father. Oh, we love it. I'm going to be that dad who just cries nonstop with kids. Just going to be a nonstop crying dad. I already know it. Just push those emotions down. Next up, Gabby meets Jason's mom. She's a cutie, very cute family. Jason's got a cute family. Jason says he doesn't see himself getting engaged this quickly. Says he needs space to process everything that has happened. Scary, he says. It's not Gabby, it's him. And we get it. Some people will just share their emotions slower. There's a lot of things going around. You need to spend a weekend alone in the mountains, look at the stars, be like, oh, yeah, I think I'm ready to do this. Jason's mom tries to convince Jason to go for it. She says she doesn't want him to lose her because of all of the distractions around him. Moms are great like that. Mom's like, no, it's propose. Figure out the details later, which is not the response we're going to get from some other moms out there. But, everyone processes the show differently. All right, Rachel goes to Zach's hometown. They watch planes take off and land. I'm sure this is a nightmare for the sound guy. They're like, hold for the plane. Hold for another plane. All right, just roll the camera. Uncle Pat shows up. This isn't exactly Seinfeld, but a nice credit for IMDb. Rachel chats with Zach's dad. He said, you go to all these romantic places, you could fall in love with a monkey. Rachel's like, that's Clayton. By the way, we already did that. They seem like the real deal here. All right, and again, we have to plow through these because there's a lot of bros on this episode. I don't know how they thought they could pull off 2 bachelorettes. Probably never going to do this again. Gabby now heads to Florida to hang with Johnny's family. Gabby tells us that Johnny is super hot. Love a good Florida family. Jet skis, beers on the dock. COVID doesn't exist in Florida, right? All the good things. DeSantis, Johnny's dad, named John, loves Gabby. Johnny's mom, not named Joan, Her name's Elizabeth. Also a hoot. Johnny's mom says Johnny's extremely loyal and doesn't give his heart to anybody. Yeah, Johnny looks like the type of guy who's, I'm not saying a player. He just looks like the type of guy who's not going to mess around and bring people home unless it's the one, which I think that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Tyler and Rachel are up next, just plowing on through. But by the way, I would say of all the hometowns, Johnny's probably would be my favorite, just as far as like, if you have to go to your significant other's parents' like hometown, make it somewhere that's, you can take a boat out, have a beer at sunset, this and that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Jason's in the Big Easy is a close second. The Big Easy. Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, too. I love Jersey and I love Wildwood. It really just depends on the season. These are good hometowns. These are all pretty good home. You don't want to have to go to some random, no offense to Iowa, but you don't want someone from Des Moines. You don't want a Des Moines hometown because then all of a sudden you're spending every Thanksgiving in Des Moines. No offense, Des Moines. We love you, but golly, you're not Florida. Okay, I just pissed off the Iowans. Don't hate me. Okay, maybe Des Moines is great. I don't know. Send me a link. Does anyone have any comedy clubs in Des Moines I can come check out? I'll perform there, and maybe you'll flip me. I think I could be the mayor of Des Moines, actually, if you looked at property value. All right, moving along. Tyler and Rachel are next. Wildwood, New Jersey. They have a blast on the boardwalk. Rachel decides she isn't feeling it. Meanwhile, Tyler doesn't seem to even notice her feelings. Oh, boy. And then, we saw this meme floating around, Ronnie from Jersey Shore. My only rule, never fall in love at the Jersey Shore. All right, well, that could never be more true than today. So she kind of shares her in the moment with the producers being like, I don't know. I just feel like it's not working. And by the way, I like his shirt right there. It's a nice shirt he's got. I need more green in my... See, the problem is I can't wear green because of my green screen here. Otherwise, I look like I just disappear. All right. Rachel tells the producers she feels like a horrible person. You're not Rachel. Rachel's not a horrible... I thought Rachel came off so lovable in this episode. I really did. I think she tried to play it through. I feel like the producers really go, you got to go through every hometown. You got to feel the feeling, because the producers know they're setting her up for failure. And then eventually it kind of gets too far and she stops it. But he says it was better than he could have ever imagined and doesn't realize she's dumping him. So even right here, she's crying and he's just like, I love you. And, people say love is blind. Let me tell you something. It's hard to read the room. Rachel says, I feel so lucky to know you. And as she is dumping him, he interjects and he's like, yeah. Fate led us together. Every time it's better and better. And she's like, no, I'm dumping you. He's like, I know. I'm dumping my energy and my love into you. He's like, what? I'm yelling at the TV. Please let her finish dumping you. Then he says, I'm in love with you. And then she looks directly into the camera. She's like, what? I can't. And then she just finally stops him. And some people might have criticized her and said, oh, she should have stopped him sooner. I mean, I think she was trying to. You ever dump somebody? Seems hard. All right. He's so gracious with how he was broken up with. He says, you've shown me love exists. I wish that for you. I don't know if he's going to be on Bachelor in Paradise, but if he's not, I see him as a potential bachelor. Maybe he's too young. Maybe he needs a year or two, but he seems like a great guy. He says, you've shown me love exists, and I wish that for you. I mean, good stuff. Meanwhile, his parents are waiting at home for him. How devastating was this? He walks into the living room alone, and they're all like, hey, how are you? Good to see you. He's like, well, they're like, where's Rachel? He's like, we'll get to that. I don't know how he managed to do it. His family's solid. He says he wanted his family to see how happy he was. Meanwhile, Rachel's in the car bawling rightfully. I mean, Rachel, this is a tough one. She knew she was hurting him, but I think that's smart for her to not meet the family and do all the platitudes. Well, if I choose him, I'm going to, all that BS. All right, Gabby, also in New Jersey. They took the Bolt bus together. Eric, that's a weird reference. Do they even have the Bolt bus anymore? All right, Eric talks about his father dying of cancer. His dad mentions that he was in the ICU for 40 days, which was interesting because then we remember that Gabby, of course, works as an ICU nurse, intensive care unit. Eric's dad says that the third chemo almost killed him, and there's a photo of his dad and mom. This was a tough one, all right? This was a lot of feels, especially if you knew what had happened. If you had, a lot of our community knew he had already passed away. He passed away, I believe, in early July, so not long after shooting this. So he was able to meet Gabby and see his son again and all that. Eric says he wouldn't have brought Gabby home if he wasn't serious. And then we talk about Eric's father. Eric's mom says she keeps watering that flower and he keeps coming back. She says you marry for life and don't take it lightly. Powerful stuff, which is important. This is like a positive way to tell Gabby that you expect her to make a strong decision, versus in a minute we'll see the way they told Rachel, which was like, this is all fake. They kind of they took like the negative energy, whereas here the positive energy with Eric's mom was, we marry for life, we commit, this is about this. And they set a positive standard there, and they showed that. And she was right, they married for life. He passed away shortly after this. R.I.P. to Eric's dad. Powerful stuff. Gabby says there's no denying she has great, great, great feelings for Eric. Eric says they were surprised to see how much he liked her. He tells her he's definitely falling in love with her. They kiss, and then she says she's falling in love with him. They kiss again. She says, I really mean what I said. So that's like about as close as you can get to telling someone they're the one. We'll have to see. Rachel has her next hometown date. Look, this is never ending. It's a never ending episode. It's exhausting. So we go to Rachel's next hometown date. She's in Santa Clarita, which is very hot. Santa Clarita is north of Los Angeles. If it's 95 in LA, it's 105 in Santa Clarita. They meet Tino's family. Tino's parents will be the tough type, which is good. They are already questioning her before she arrives. Tino's dad doesn't buy the chit-chat. He's like, aren't there other guys trying to date her? The dad, does he look like a character on Star Trek? Beam me up, Scotty. He just looks like he's, okay. I don't know if it's the color shirt or what. They couldn't get a better color shirt. What do they, you know what I mean? Okay. Dad goes, what about the other guys? And Tino says, she'll send them home and I'll propose to her. Then Tino says he wasn't expecting his dad to be stringent with his questions. He said stringent. I think he meant to say asshole. Dad asks how he knows after 5 weeks. He says he knows the important stuff. My response to the parents who worry, so what if it doesn't work out? So what? It's a dating show. It doesn't work out that often. You got to pursue it with like a guy with his head on water. You got to pursue the Bachelorette like a guy with his head on fire pursues a pool of water. All right, it's still early over here. I'm like, can you hear my voice? I sound terrible. Tino's mom. I had a stand-up show last night, so I had to cut my recap short. I'll post a clip of this. I'll post a link to the stand-up show on my Patreon. If you guys want to check that out for the Patreon members, I give exclusive behind the scenes content. Of course, I'm getting married in 50 days, so I'll be posting all the wedding information on there as well. If you want to be a part of that journey, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. All right. Tino's mom tells Rachel, this is not real. Rachel's like, well, it is. And she's like, but it's not. And you could tell if this was Rachel fighting with one of the guys, she would have really given him, she would have really gone into him. But she tries her best to like remain respectful. It goes horribly. Tino's mom says, I'll either be mending a broken heart or planning a wedding. Rachel says Tino's mom is skeptical and that she grilled my ass and is scared to talk to his dad. Tino's dad tells Rachel, don't take this the wrong way. Oh boy, she's about to do that. Listen, Tino's dad, you don't tell a lady, don't take this the wrong way, and then expect her to take it the right way. She's taking it the wrong way. All right. Tino's dad says, I want to see him fall for the right person. Rachel looks like she hates Tino's dad. She tells the producer they hated me. Tino tells Rachel he should have told her weeks ago that he was falling in love with her. So if there's any good thing that happened from Tino's rough parents, it's that he's like, look, I should have told you earlier that I'm falling for you. And then she responds and says she also feels like she has been falling in love with him. So there's different stages to saying I love you. There's I love you. The precursor to that is I'm falling in love with you. And then the precursor to that is I feel like I'm falling in love with you. And the precursor to that is, boy, you're trouble.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
all right, that's the episode today. Let me know what you guys think. We'll have more content coming for you. Katie Thurston was on Caitlin Bristow's podcast, and they shared a lot of tea. We'll be covering that next. We'll see you at 10 a.m. Pacific time on patreon.com for behind-the-scenes live stream. More content coming your way. Leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe if you haven't already. What's it going to take to get you to subscribe? I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.